Hey everyone. Um, my question would be that I'm experiencing, so oftentimes when I feel like I need more grounding and more stabilization, I, for instance, look for, um, planting my feet on the ground and connecting with the earth, and which seems like the logical thing to do. But oftentimes, after I did that or after I do that, feels like there's more activation in my system, especially when I'm consciously connecting my feet or myself to the earth. So I don't really understand what's going on. And if you could have some framework that I could interpret this with.
Great question. Yeah, so it sounds a little counterintuitive and confusing, right? You do the grounding exercise of walking barefoot, and it actually amps things up. Um, so what's coming to me to share with you is that a few ideas here. So one, perhaps when you engage in the grounding activity, like you said, you're doing it consciously, so it actually becomes a sort of meditation in and of itself. And in that meditative space you're creating, it actually allows more energy to flow, which isn't a bad thing at all. Um, the other thing that we can consider here is that perhaps once you're grounded, the intelligence of the energy is able to move through your system more smoothly, more safely, knowing that because you're grounded, it's able to do some pretty powerful, intense work during those times. Um, just some basic ideas that are coming to me just to explain why, this seemingly completely opposite outcome is occurring for you. Um, one thing to remember about grounding. So the way I like to think of the word grounding, it's not to completely shut off this process or find relief from any of the signs or quote unquote symptoms or energetic activity. It's just to bring a sense of balance across the whole system. Okay. So perhaps when you're grounded, things get amped up. It doesn't mean that the grounding isn't working. It doesn't mean that something is going wrong. It just means that this process is doing what it's going to do. And at times, grounding, eating well, exercise, all of these things, they're just not even going to make much of a difference because the energy is moving very intensely. It's very active. It has to do what it's got to do, and nothing is going to really bring, what we may call relief per se, because it's got to do its work. It has to do its work. When the work is done, that's when real stability, real relief, real sustained balance comes about in more lengthier periods. However, until then, there will be times where it's just very active. And what we have to do is work on things like grounding, taking care of our body, self-care, practicing meditation, creating space and containers for the energetic activity to do what it's got to do, and also surrendering to this idea that there's going to be phenomena. There's going to be some strange things happening in our body. We're going to feel like we're buzzing, heat, maybe have difficulty sleeping. It's all going to happen, but this is part of the process. So I hope that can give you some clarity there, but I understand your question. It's completely opposite of what we might expect. It's a very interesting, mysterious journey at times.
Yeah, thank you for the advice.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.